Hello and welcome to another LEGO MOC showcase video. Straight away, this is quite weird because I'm stood in the position as if I was going to do a Nerf video. But you have seen the title and the thumbnail. Yes, really, this is probably the best thing I've ever built out of LEGO. This is a full-size WWE Championship belt. So whilst my YouTube channel is all about LEGO trains, it is nice every now and then just to break the mold. There's so much more I could be building, and I had so much fun making this. This was one of those items where I had the idea before going to bed one day, and all the ideas made sense in my mind. So the next day I came to building it, and it was just constantly hour after hour, no breaks, getting it built, and it was done in a day, and I am in love with this. I have, of course, been posing with this. I have posted some pictures of me with this belt on a couple of my socials, so make sure you check them out if you want to see some more of those pictures. But yeah, it's huge, it's so different, but that's what I love about this. I don't ever really talk about wrestling because, of course, again, this is a YouTube channel all about LEGO trains, but I have been watching wrestling since January 2008. It was a magic moment discovering that wrestling was a thing, and of course, 15 years later, here I am still watching it. It's so cool. I won't go into any wrestling details because it's it's like Marmite, basically. You either love wrestling or you just don't care for it. I am obviously someone who absolutely loves it, even with all the horrible things that the big dub definitely does. But as a kid, I had toy belts and I made my own custom belts. I never really had a full-size replica. Now, they cost a good few $100s, and there are times where I thought, technically I can afford one, but I can't pull the trigger on that. And then one day I realised, oh yeah, I'm really good at building stuff with LEGO, and that's how this came to be. It's quite amazing, the idea of having the ideas for it one night and then all of a sudden remembering, oh yes, I'm in a position where I can actually build this. And it just came, it's one of those amazing models where it just came together. And yes, of course, it can be worn. Just making sure I don't drop the ready thing because I would be very upset. And yeah, there it is, being worn as, well, not so much tradition, but something that you see a lot where it's on my shoulder. Oh yes. It's surprisingly heavy. I haven't weighed this, but that's a good bit of weight to it. I don't think this currently weighs as much as it would compared to the real thing, because obviously that's leather and gold, but it's got quite a bit of heft, but that does make sense. So well, I suppose the leather representation, the best way to call it, if I try and hold this in a way where I can show what I'm trying to show without dropping it, okay, I think this will do. So you can see along here, the actual leather strap itself is 2 studs thick. Originally, I was going to make this 1 stud thick, but I was very concerned of it being too fragile to hold. So I can do this and, it's not going to break on me at all. I had a hell of a lot of 2x4 bricks in black. Perfect opportunity, right? And how is it folding? Well, simply put, there are hinge pieces. Now, if I, there we go. You can see one at each end and a hinge piece in the middle. Now, I remember having, and well, technically don't have anymore because they've all been used in this model, a big sort of stack of hinge pieces just put together as a way of saying, okay, if I need one of these, it's in this stack. And there's only 3 hinges per folding point. It does work, it is fine, but there are a couple of places where I tried to hold this, and it does feel a bit awkward. Not so much like it's going to break, but I know to be careful in the first place. And I feel like I want to go back and add a few more hinges because I still got some more spare. But for now, it does the job. It really is fine. There are 4 folding points on each side of the belt. So given this particular belt design, it is it's the current iteration of the WWE Championship as introduced in 2014 after Brock Lesnar wipes the floor with John Cena at SummerSlam. Still an absolute banger of a match. I'm going to be nerding out about wrestling a little bit in this video, but I promise I will focus on the LEGO model. So yes, with this particular design, there is 2 folding points here, given that this is supposed to be its own little metal strip. Of course, going into the side plate, we have another 2 folding points for the rest of the leather strap. And yeah, once again, it can be positioned in such ways where you can have it on your shoulder. I'm glad I went ahead and adding more of these folding points because when you go to hold it like this, or at least when I do, it's much more comfortable. Obviously, with this additional folding point here, it makes it so much easier to kind of have this on my shoulder. That 90 degree, well, nearly 90 degree sort of angle there would be really awkward depending on how this would have been made. But yeah, it's just nice to have some more points of articulation. So the day I finished the model, the plates all had a bit of lesser detail. You'll be able to see what I mean if you go to my social media pages where I was posing with this thing after I made it, because of course I was just really happy with the end result. But when you look at the side plates in particular, all of these, well, it's the white 1x1 tiles that represent the details. That black 1x1 sort of square pattern, that's just exposed studs and all the plates that I've been using to actually represent the belts. There are some side-studded bricks in the overall construction. Again, this is built normally, if I open the strap a little bit, you can see reflecting off the light, there we go. It's just standard construction. And there are points in the wall, so to say, where there are studs exposed on the side, so I can actually put these plates down and create the sideways details. Lots of tiles, and thankfully I still have my box of dots 1x1 pieces to get a sort of decent look. You know, it's diagonal and you could do that in a way, but I don't want to potentially ping that piece off, because I don't want to have to spend time trying to show this off to people and all of a sudden 2 pieces are missing, you know. But yeah, it's actually quite a simple way of achieving the logos. The smaller logos on the side had a huge redesign, but that was hand in hand with getting all the rest of the gems around the border. Sadly, there is no lettering or kind of nameplate piece along the bottom, and there's definitely space for like a custom prints sort of thing going along there, but at the same time, I don't really care for that. That's just me personally. But overall, it is, I think, for a pixel arts Lego brick design, this is the best job I really could do. And at the same time, I don't know if it's just because I've built this recently and I love it and I'm just a fan of wrestling anyways, but in a way, this is probably the best attempt at this kind of design that anybody could really make. On one side of the strap as well, I had a brilliant idea of representing the buttons. Now, at least with modern WWE, the belt straps have a big old Velcro patch, and that is tacky. This may be a bit encumbering and a bit annoying to have to put on and off when you actually put it around your waist, but it looks so much better. It really does. Now, I bought a load of these. I was going to try and take one. Well, I can. There we go. Just to better show you. So that is a 2x2, a dark tan. I suppose you would call it a plate. It's like a, I think it's called a tile with center stud, something like that. But I had loads of these on my Lego store Pick a Brick wall. I've got the pieces for the buttons here pretty much sorted straight away. And yeah, I mean, it was another one of those things where the idea all came together immediately, and that was a good thing. Now, one thing that people probably won't like about this is the fact that if I hold this back up, there's no gold. It's all yellow. Now, I could go out, on, well, not so much go out, but go onto Bricklink rather, and get a bunch of pearl gold tiles. I don't really want to make a Bricklink order. I did not have to make a Bricklink order when I made this. Again, I already had all the parts. I made this in a day. So that's just how I build. I tend to buy loads of parts and stock up between MOCs. And when it comes to making something, I want to make sure I have all the parts to begin with. I definitely have made models in the past where I thought, okay, I need these parts, going to have to make the Bricklink order and just go from there. But if I can work around having to pay for more pieces, for example, using yellow instead of gold, I'm happy with that. But that's just me personally. Right, let's have some fun in holding this up, shall we? So this goes back to what I mentioned earlier, where it can be a bit difficult to hold this thing up. So you really can hold this in a way where it's like a real belt, but don't try and hold it sideways because it's Lego. It can't quite, it probably could handle the weight, but I would not be comfortable in trying to, it's heavy as well. I said this too, trying to do that, that's a workout. My arm is shaking just a tiny bit, but oh, that is heavy. I do love just having it on my shoulder. Holding it up is fun in its own way, but just having a big old belt on your shoulder, you know. The big old center plate does make it easier for you to hold it up like this. And because of how free moving the strap is with all the folding points, it really does feel much better for that too. For safety's sakes, when it comes to holding this and moving it around, I do keep the whole thing folded up like this. It is possible to kind of fold it in further, but it's kind of weird to handle in a way. And besides, you know, you got half the belt there. You can see how awkward this alone is. And besides, again, having mentioned the weight a few times, I do need to try and find a balance in how I want to transport this too. I am absolutely taking this to LEGO shows in the future. regardless of whether I'm taking the layout or not, this is coming with me everywhere for LEGO shows in the future, because this is, again, probably the best thing I have ever built out of LEGO. And that is the video coming to an end. Thank you all ever so much for watching. In the description you can find a link to my Discord server where you can chat with like-minded fans of LEGO trains and Nerf blasters. Also down below you can find links to my social media pages, of which you will definitely see some pictures of me posing with this thing. It has been a blast to make this because it's a combination of my two favourite things in the world, LEGO and wrestling. And still, reigning, defending, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Luke Triton.